Okay, review time. This will be on the 1976 Big Red Machine, so let's get right into it. Going to get started with showing you leadoff guy Pete Rose, his on base chances. You see very good numbers right there. I wish the number was a little bit higher against lefties, but that's still an acceptable number and a excellent number against right-handed pitching. Now let's spend a little time talking about Ken Griffey, the right fielder, the number two hitter. I'm going to show you all of his stats. You see his on base chances and his hits with multiple base advancement. And I'm going to say that this is one of my favorite Stratomatic cards that I've ever come across because what I really like about Griffey's card from 1976 is you get really good bang for your buck, as well as the ability to really hit him anywhere in the lineup. You could use him as a number two guy because of his excellent on base chances, and you could use him even as a number three or even a number four or five guy because of his ability to move runners along with his hits. So this is really a terrific card and really one of the best cards I've ever seen in Stratomatic. Albeit, he doesn't have a ton of power on the card, but his hits give you very good bang for your buck. So that's what you get out of Ken Griffey. Now let's take a look at Joe Morgan. Again, I'm going to show you all of his numbers. Once again, you see terrific on base chance numbers, especially against right handed pitching. And you see his hits with multiple base advancement. This comes up very big for the 1976 Reds, middle of the order score. As you're going to see next, I'm going to show you three guys: Johnny Bench, Tony Perez, and George Foster. Going to show you their hits with multiple base advancement. You could see Johnny Bench's numbers against righties is a little bit low. Tony Perez and George Foster make up for it a little bit. So you get terrific production out of the Reds lineup as you keep going deeper into the lineup. As you can see, George Foster, who regularly hits sixth in the lineup, you have a right-handed hitter who has 7 hits with multiple base advancement on his card against right-handed pitching. And of course, just like every other player, that number can go up depending on ballpark effect home runs. So we keep moving along now. I'm going to show you the number 7 guy in the lineup, Dave Concepcion. A couple of things about his card. You see terrific numbers against left-handed pitching as far as runner advance hits. And you're getting that out of a guy who hits 7th in the order. I mean, that's just really terrific numbers. The other thing I'm going to show you on Dave Concepcion's card, if you take a close look, this is actually something that I don't ever really remember seeing before. And if anyone has another example of it, please give it to me. But if you see versus against left-handed pitching on 311, he has a ballpark effect single, which is 2 asterisks. I don't ever remember seeing that before. Maybe I have, but never really noticed it. But when I was doing my work on Concepcion's card, I kind of did a double take because I don't ever remember seeing a ballpark effect single where if it comes up a hit, it's a 2 asterisk hit. Now let's finish up the regular lineup as I show you the center fielder. And keep in mind, when you see these numbers, this is your number 8 hitter. Those are his chances of getting on base. So just terrific numbers out of Cesar Geronimo, not to mention, and I'll get into this later with defense, but not to mention it helps that your center fielder is a 1E7 with a -5 arm. So that's just a terrific way to round out your lineup. Now, you do have some more options to play with the 1976 Reds. If you're playing a game and you are not playing with a DH, you do have a interesting platoon that you could use at DH if you're playing in a American League ballpark. I'm going to show you the numbers for right-handed hitter Bob Bailey and left-handed hitter Dan Dreesen. You see their numbers: Bailey against left-handed pitching and Dreesen against right-handed pitching. So really, the Cincinnati Reds offense, and I know I'm not breaking any new ground here, but there is nothing to scoff at when it comes to the 1976 Reds. There is no way that I could find any holes in this offense. So they score a perfect 5 out of 5 for the 1976 Reds. Now let's dig into the defense on the Reds. Let's start up the middle with Joe Morgan and Dave Concepcion. No complaints here. You have two ones in the field. I will discuss the E rating Concepcion later on, but when you've got two ones at second and short, you got nothing to complain about. It's a big help when you're playing a game and you have a grounder to second or short, and you have, so long as you don't roll a split and it comes up a E rating, it's a big help to have two automatic double plays when you are hitting the ball to second base and shortstop. So that's a big help. The outfield defense comes out very good. I wish Griffey was a 2 or higher, because that would have given the 76 Reds a perfect outfield score. I had to settle on a 4.5 out of 5 because you have the one in center, you got the two in left, and you've got the three in right. So still a very good defense, but there's no way you could get a perfect 5 out of 5 score if you have a three in the outfield. So that's my score for the outfield defense, 4.5 out of 5. The E ratings also grade out very well. The only issue I have with the E ratings on the 76 Reds is, and I spoke on this just a second ago with Dave Concepcion, the E30 at shortstop can be a problem. But really, that is the only hole you have in the field when it comes to E ratings. You could see you're very good in the outfield with the E ratings, and you're terrific at the corner infield spots with the E ratings with Perez and Pete Rose. So the E rating grades out as a 4.5 out of 5. So the Cincinnati Reds, 1976 Cincinnati Reds defensive rating comes out at an overall rating of a 4.6 out of 5. So far, so good for the 1976 Big Red Machine. Now let's go through the starting pitching. Let me first get started with the numbers for Gary Nolan. You have very nice on base chance numbers when you roll his card. The only issue that I take with Gary Nolan, and this does hurt his overall rating a little bit, is there is a little too much power opportunities on his card against right-handed hitting. So that could be a little bit of an issue. Now, let me get into the starting rotation depth. Let me show you the numbers for Gullett, Norman, Billingham, and Zachary. These numbers all check out well above average. Billingham's numbers against right-handed hitting, that could be a little bit of a problem if he's starting a game for you and you're facing a team that's loaded with right-handed bats. But what I do really like about the starting rotation depth, in particular, going through my notes, Norman and Zachary are both very, very efficient at keeping the ball in the ballpark, which I really like. So as I land on a starting rotation score for the Cincinnati Reds, you're going to see that they grade out overall as a 3.8 out of 5, as I graded the ace as a 3.75, and I gave the starting rotation depth a score of a 4 out of 5. So 3.8 is a very good score for a starting rotation. So don't think of the Cincinnati Reds as just or the 1976 Reds as just 8 guys in the starting lineup every day winning games 9-8 every day. This is a very good starting rotation. Now let's look at the bullpen. Let me get started here with the closer, Raleigh Eastwick. You see terrific on base chance numbers. What I also really like about his card is he also keeps the ball in the ballpark. You have no ballpark effect home runs on Eastwick's card. So that is a big, big plus. Plus, it also helps that he's a 2-inning reliever. Keep in mind, this is going back to 1976. So it's very rare to have a closer, or really any reliever for that fact, to only be a 1-inning reliever. So no issues with Eastwick's card. Now let's look at the bullpen depth. I'm going to show you the numbers for Sarmiento, McEnany, and Bourbon. You could see you have good numbers when it comes to on base chances. out of all three of them. McEnany's numbers against right-handed hitting is a little bit high, but really what makes this Cincinnati bullpen go is Manny Sarmiento. Excellent on base chance numbers on his card. And you couple that with the fact that he has no ballpark effect home runs and he is a 3 inning reliever. So just between Sarmiento and Eastwick, you could eat up half a ball game right there. You could get 5 solid innings out of them. Not to mention you have solid cards with Bourbon and McEnany. So I landed on a perfect score of a 5 out of 5 for the 76 Reds bullpen. I gave Eastwick, the closer, a perfect rating, and I gave the bullpen depth a perfect rating of a 5 out of 5. And a lot of that is based on what you get out of Sarmiento. If this was the modern day game and Eastwick was a 1 inning reliever and Sarmiento was a 1 inning reliever, and you had the cards of the other guys be the way they are, maybe it would have been a different score. Really, what separates this 1976 Reds team is you've got a terrific setup guy in Sarmiento who could eat up 3 innings and hand the ball off to Eastwick to close a game. So no issues with this 1976 Reds bullpen. So if we're to peel everything back and we're to look at the 1976 Reds as a whole, you're going to see that they grade out at a 4.6 out of 5. And that is the highest score that I have ever given out. I'm going to show you the numbers for the closest four teams that I've done videos on to date that compare to the 1976 Reds in this order. You can see 89 A's, 84 Tigers, 86 Mets, and the 1990 Cincinnati Reds. Now, would I say, in my opinion, is this the best Strat-O-Matic team I've ever seen? Again, keeping in mind, I don't have every set from every season. There are teams from the 50s and 60s that I've never seen, as well as some teams from the 2000s. Like I haven't had a chance to look at the 2018 Red Sox yet, or for that matter, like the 1961 Yankees or anything like that. But as far as the cards that I have, yeah, I would say this is the best Stratomatic team that I've ever seen, because the lineup is just so over the top good, 1 through 8. And like I mentioned, if you're playing with the DH, you have good options to play there as well. And I didn't even get into talking about the speed on the 76 Reds. You have a lot of opportunities to steal bases with the guys on this team, in particular Joe Morgan and Ken Griffey. You have no issues defensively. The only red flag you have in the defense is you have Griffey and Wright, who's a 3, and Concepcion, who, albeit is a 1 at shortstop, is an E30. And the starting rotation, I would not call this a weak starting rotation at all. It is not a weakness. It may not have graded as high as the other three categories, offense, defense, and bullpen, but you could win with the starting rotation, no doubt. And the bullpen, I have no qualms with this bullpen whatsoever. So that's my grade on the 1976 Reds. It is the highest score that I've given out to date. They grade out as a 4.6 on the nose, by the way. That turned out it didn't have to be rounded up or rounded down in any sort of way. They came out at a solid 4.6 out of 5. So I thank you all for watching, and my next video will be on the 1970 Minnesota Twins. Have a good day, everyone.